The time is at hand.
From the land of crackheads and honey in Williamson, West Virginia, this is In Dark Places. We got a snow here about a week ago, and it was not a huge snow. It was like 2 inches, and then it rained on top of it and froze like 2 more inches. So there's like a little snow sandwich out there of ice, and then it snowed again on top of that. And I'm kind of sick of looking at it. It won't melt. It's just always there. I feel like that movie Groundhog Day, where it's just like the same day repeating over and over. It's just always snow and always cold, and I hate it. But it's okay because I've got some Appalachian UFO reports from December 2025. This first one comes from Jamestown, New York, December 1st, 2025 at 9 p.m. 2 pilots observed 3 aircraft. While flying a private jet at 43,000 feet, we, the 2 pilots, observed 3 aircraft flying in the night sky. They moved in concert and varied their formation from line abreast to random form and spacing. They would randomly and individually dim their lights down to the vanishing point and individually increase them to a very high intensity. They all remained above the horizon up to 10 degrees elevation, and the range was totally intermediate. We were traveling at 450 knots ground speed, never apparently closed the range. They could have remained at a range of 100 miles and been operating at 60,000 feet, or they could have been 50 miles high at a range of 2,000 miles and been located west of Portland, Oregon, or the eastern Pacific Ocean. If they were spaceborne, then reflective illumination by the sun cannot explain the varying intensity of their lights. We were westbound at high altitude and flying in clear air with an undercast which topped out at about 39,000 feet. The ARTCC, whatever it is, was Cleveland Center. We queried a controller about the sighting, and he merely acknowledged it, but handed our inquiry to the next controller, who subsequently asked us about our observation when we checked in on VHF. This was a very strange event involving 3 aircraft with incredible performance observed from long and intermediate range by 2 highly experienced pilots. Dandridge, Tennessee, December 3rd, 9:45 p.m. Saw 3 red lights blinking over the tree line of the ridge. The lights multiplied in a matter of seconds to 5 red lights, maybe even more. But it was difficult to tell because they were blinking erratically. One light even seemed to come off of another. In the first 2 minutes of sighting them, the lights were in a cluster, moving from left to right over the ridge, with seemingly no particular pattern or formation. Then for a moment, they got in what looked like a straight line. The lights then appeared to move back into a cluster, and then there were only 3 lights left. The others seemed to blink off, and then never blink again. As the lights disappeared below, or far past, the tree line, the initial sighting occurred of about 5 minutes. After the lights disappeared, my partner and I stood in our backyard and were looking in the same direction. It's good to have your partner with you. Police force appreciates that. With nothing occurring for the next 3 or 4 minutes. Just as we were about to head inside the house, 2 red lights suddenly appeared overhead. We watched these 2 lights move together, completely equidistant from one another for the duration of their sighting. They flew from left to right, furthest to the right, looking more north toward White Pine, Tennessee, slowly and silently. It was difficult to discern how high/far away they were, but they appeared to be flying about a football field's length from one another. They were not close together like they were on a plane or helicopter or drone. When they were almost totally due north, they rotated around one another, placing themselves vertically rather than side by side. After that, the lights rotated again, flying side by side, back in the direction they came from. We watched them float further away until we could no longer see them. And this could be possibly related from Pittman Center, Tennessee, December 3rd, 9:55 p.m. I went outside to walk the dog, heard a low hum like a jet, but more muffled. Saw a giant triangular craft silhouetted against the sky from a dull moon. The craft had lights down the sides on a linear pattern. This one has a video from Bainbridge, New York, December 4th, 2025. The object was observed to be brighter than the surrounding stars. I got my fiancée to be sure I wasn't seeing things. She confirmed the same thing that I was seeing. The object was moving in all directions, but had a general upward and to the right trend from our position. I took photos and videos to try to confirm its position, and was able to get a tripod video of it moving with the camera in a fixed position. As I was observing the first object, I noticed a second yellow object hovering on the horizon in the tree line. Seemingly, as soon as I noticed it hovering, it paused and then began heading in an opposite direction, almost crossing paths. I just checked it again, and the first object has moved back to the left side of our sky's view, closer to where it began. So this guy reported it live as it was happening. Pretty cool. This one has pictures and is from Yadkinville, North Carolina, December 11th, 6:18 a.m. While watching the sunrise early this morning, an orb-like shape popped into the sky from out of nowhere. Watched it for a moment, noticing it wasn't exactly moving, looked more like it was flashing. So I pulled the camera out, zooming in on it, watching it switch forms over and over, almost see-through-like. It wasn't exactly a figure. I watched it move in strange ways, side to side, up and down, at a constant flashing, changing forms for a good hour. I videoed multiple videos of it while watching. Dunlap, Tennessee, December 12th, 7:29 p.m. Orb was followed closely by an obvious helicopter. Orb made no sound and had no blinking lights. It was also observed over Saudi Lake in Saudi Daisy, Tennessee, and by another person in Dunlap, Tennessee. It was bright white and maybe 1/4 the size of the helicopter following it. They were below the clouds, and we had an unobstructed view. Milham, Pennsylvania, December 12th at 7:30 p.m., 1 minute later. We were talking about UFOs and if they were real, when all of a sudden a white circle with a blue trail went over the field. Pretty freaky. This one is from Fletcher, North Carolina, and it has an AI-generated picture with it. December 15th, 7:31 p.m. It's weird that these are all just a minute apart, but this one's a different day, so I guess they don't count. Large triangle moving just over the tree line. Thought it was a plane until I saw yellow lights and a flashing center beacon. It was moving over the trees, and due to the light, I thought it was a plane until it was silent, even at a close range. It had yellow lights and a triangle with a red beacon flashing in the middle. Then it appeared to stop near the road. When we went up on the other road, we didn't see it anymore. Kennersville, North Carolina, December 16th, 8:35 p.m. Large, completely silent, whitish or translucent, V-shaped object moving west to east very fast. This was not a cloud, it was too symmetrical. The sky was dark, clear, and free of clouds in all directions. Rural Retreat, Virginia. Shout out James. December 22nd, 5:28 a.m. South to north, directly over my head, approximately 1,000 feet up in the air. Made no noise, and my 3 dogs were not aware of it being there. Let me see its underbelly with inlaid lights that appeared in a full circle. Then it was gone in a flash of light. Happened so fast, no picture could be taken of it, but it shook me to my core. Huge craft, about as big as the town pool. Bristol, Tennessee, December 22nd, 5 p.m. I was waiting on my little boy to finish sucking his bottle and looking out the window to the north, toward Bristol, Tennessee/Virginia. The clouds were layered at both gray and white far in the distance. As I was looking, a dark cylindrical object that appeared several hundred feet long passed between the clouds and was moving west to east at probably 10,000 feet elevation. It was clearly a solid object and moved rather quickly. Not sure what I saw, but it was uncommon. Marble, North Carolina, December 22nd, 9:15 p.m. Not sure exactly what I saw. However, go back into my house to grab my wife and verify it was not my imagination. Wow, this one's going to be a joy to read. My wife said maybe it's an airplane. However, in addition to red blinking light, planes have other color blinking lights on the wings. None observed, but rather you couldn't tell it was actually anything other than an abnormally large single blinking light obscuring any possible craft. So I think it was definitely just a light. And I observed it move erratically back and forth and not just flying forward. My wife said maybe it's a drone. No idea, but if so, it was rather big based on its distance in the mountains. However, I can't rule a drone out. A plane, not likely based on what I stated earlier, plus there was no sound. Asheville, North Carolina. It has pictures. December 23rd. Weird sighting in Asheville. I live in West Asheville, North Carolina. A few nights ago, my roommate got home from work around 11:30 p.m. and came into the living room and told me there was a light above our house that was darting around that he had seen his entire ride home. I got up and went out there with him, and the light was there, sure enough. It was not blinking and was doing some incredible maneuvers. If I had to guess, it was probably 5 miles away. But obviously, it was hard to tell because it's pretty dark here in Asheville at night. With no clouds out that night, there wasn't much to judge it on. I have an iPhone 16 Pro Max and took the attached pictures myself. I zoomed in as far as I could. Took a video of it as well, but didn't zoom in on it because I was trying to gauge how close it was. First photo I took was at 11:34 p.m. and the last photo I took was at 11:51 p.m. At the end of the sighting, the object split into 3 separate pieces that formed a triangle and blinked off. Fletcher, North Carolina, once again. And also an AI picture, so I'm guessing this is the same guy. At 8:18 p.m. V-shaped object rimmed with 25 to 30 lights, each red. The craft suddenly appeared after I thought I was seeing a plane until I saw a massive curved arc of lights appear above it. Then these green, red, and white lights below it, which I thought was a plane, started flashing completely red, so I assume it was part of an object. And that is the end of the December 2025 Appalachian UFO reports, as reported to Peter Davenport at the National UFO Reporting Center. Thanks as always, Peter Davenport, and I'll see you next time, probably with some more UFO sightings from January 2026. I'm almost caught up. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate you. God bless.